have a gut sense of what sacred feels like, a sense of awe, a sense of reverence. But usually sacred comes to us wrapped in a specific religion, with a set of received traditions, a way of expressing that reverence. Tonight we're going to talk about a different kind of sacred, a sacred that's built from the ground up. It's a do-it-yourself sacred that takes the rules out of it, but keeps the sense of awe, the sense of something bigger than our individual lives. But to get to that sacred, we are going to begin exactly there, in your individual lives, our individual lives, your story. So close your eyes for me for a moment, just a moment, and picture someone you love who has died, someone precious to you, the contour of their face, the sound of their laugh. Pause that picture and imagine it as a photograph that you're holding in front of you. This image, this love, this loss, this is the seed of the sacred, and it is deeply, intimately, uniquely yours. Now, open your eyes for me. I don't know your name or your story, and I probably never will, but I see your photograph. I see you holding someone you loved enough to stand in the street for them, quietly declaring your love and your loss. From my love and my loss, I see you. From my heart to your heart, we see each other, and that seeing is deeper than our individual stories, deeper and older than any one tradition or way of mourning. Every November in Tucson, Arizona, we come out of our private spaces, our homes, our offices, our cars, our individual lives, our separateness, and we meet in the streets. And there we create a sacred public space built out of how we connect with one another and with those we have lost. But for those connections to happen, we need to step out of our everyday lives into the extraordinary. So we walk down the middle of the street. We paint our faces and wear costumes to break the boundaries we usually hold between us and the rest of the world. We create beautiful objects infused with our memories of those we have lost, and we carry them with us so that they can speak of our love and our loss. And our love and loss edges into celebration, and we dance in the street to samba, to bagpipes, collectively claiming our public space for the most intimate of human emotions. We started simply. 25 years ago, Susan Johnson, a performance artist, this is her just a couple years ago. Susan invited together a group of friends to help her mourn her father who had passed away. And about a couple dozen people gathered with their own losses, and together they grieved and they celebrated through music and movement and costumes, and then they walked down the street, making it up as they went along. 25 years later, we expect 100,000 people, and we are still making it up as we go along. The All Souls Procession works because there isn't any one right way to do it. Whatever speaks to you, whatever speaks of your love and your loss, that is what you should bring to the procession. And you may bring an ancient tradition handed down to you from your ancestors, like these Aztec dancers who have opened the finale ceremony for the past 3 years with a traditional dance. Or you might create an entirely new tradition, like the urn attendants, who walk through the procession, collecting memories of loved ones from everyone in the streets. The All Souls Procession works when you step in, when you participate, when you open your heart to connect with strangers. It is not a spectator event, but it is really fun to look at. And that is because if there is one fundamental tradition of the procession, one essential way that we create the altered reality that lets the sacred in, it is art. All arts, any art, music, movement, dancing, costumes, fire spinning, crochet, anything. Creativity as a way of expressing grief and love. Creativity as a way of sharing and communicating our loves, our losses, our commonalities with one another. Now you might think you can't participate in this way, that you aren't creative. But every October, our volunteers offer free arts workshops where people can come in and they can create something for someone they love. It's a lantern, a shrine, a mask, a float, a puppet, whatever it may be. If you want to create something for someone, we will help you make it happen. Shortly before last year's procession, Taja Castillo, founded a foundation in the name of her fiancé, Mark, who was killed 20 years ago in a motorcycle accident. She got in touch with us, and we told her about the workshops. And Taja, who had no artistic experience whatsoever, came to the workshops every weekend for a month. She and her friends and her board members worked together to make a giant replica of Mark's bike, the one he was killed on, out of cardboard and paper mache. And Michael Wells here is one of our volunteers who runs those workshops. They're completely run by volunteers. And we helped Taja, and she made the bike. And then she and her friends pulled the bike through the procession for Mark, with a peach rose on the seat, and Taja walking beside it, carrying Mark's photo. Whatever speaks your love and your loss, you can bring with you. It can be something as complex as Taja's bike, or it can be simple. A poster for a Nana who passed away just a few weeks before. It can be intimately specific, like this mobile, created for a son who lived only a few days, but saved the lives of 2 other children through his organs being donated. It can be something communal, the AIDS ribbon, carried by 50+ volunteers, many of them first-year med students, and inscribed with the names of hundreds of people who have died of AIDS. There are many, many, many stories in the procession, and there are many beautiful objects. And as a newcomer, it actually can be really hard to see under all of the shiny objects, the cool masks, the fabulous costumes, the wonderful things like this globe float, and see through them to the deeper emotion they contain. And when I first saw this globe float, I thought it was really cool. It glows, it rotates as it moves through the streets, but I had no idea how it was connected to the procession, to the deeper emotions. And then I learned the story. Cinda Laufer loved to travel. And in 2006, when she died of breast cancer, her friends and her family divided her ashes into tiny vials. And every time one of them travels, they take a vial of Cinda's ashes with them. And every spot of light on that globe represents a place where Cinda's ashes are scattered. Every year, her parents pull the globe float out, clean it up, add new lights, and they pull it through the procession for Cinda. There are tens of thousands of stories like the Laufers in the streets for the procession. Everyone in this room has a story of love and of loss. Everyone watching. And everyone can participate. For the past 12 years, the procession has been led by the urn. Anyone on the street can put something in it, a name, a piece of paper with a note to somebody that you can't talk to anymore. Even those of you who aren't in Tucson can go to our website and submit a message for the urn, and we will print it out and put it in for you. So go back for a moment. Imagine again the face, the one that you love. Imagine writing their name on a piece of paper, a message, something you'd like to say to them. And imagine entrusting that to one of the urn attendants, someone like me. Entrusting us to take that to the urn for you and put it in, where it will mingle with thousands of other pieces of paper, with names, with memories, with stories, with photographs, with dried flowers, 100 paper cranes, a dog toy, a tiny paper box covered with seashells. All of our loves, all of our losses, all of our yearning goes together into that urn, mingled in one place. And at the end of the procession, when we gather for the finale ceremony, we hoist the urn onto a 30-foot tall tower and we burn it. Tens of thousands of us gathered around the fire with all of our loves, all of our longing mingled together into smoke and ash. We are many individual lives, many separate stories, with one heart, one focus, one common thread uniting us all. And that is sacred. That common thread that we can take with us from the procession back into our individual lives. That common thread that tells us how deeply we are connected.